Hey everybody, David from Flash by V Cycle Nut here. Working on a customer's R9 for them. If you have an R9, I'm sure you've noticed that all the exhaust systems that are out for it are quite expensive. So we wanted to see if we could retrofit an exhaust that was originally made for the MT09 onto the R9 without major work. And I picked the Black Widow high mount because I feel like it'll still have plenty of clearance, much more so than a lot of the systems that really mount down low. I didn't think that was a good solution to the problem. So far it's going on really well, and I think it's going to look really nice. I just want to show you the only modification I had to do was on this bracket right here. I just elongated that hole a little bit with my Dremel and the metal cuddle bit on it, literally in I don't know, 2 minutes worth of just elongating the hole. It fits. So I'll go once I get it fully mounted up. I'll show you it in the lines, and I think it looks pretty good. I'm sure it's going to work good. So I do have it all bolted up. It is solid in place. I think we have plenty of ground clearance. And just show you one other thing, that simple bracket that I had made. So this pipe, the system that I originally bought was for the 21 through 23 MT09, not the 24, or obviously the R9. So it didn't have the systems for the 24, where most of them give you a bracket that bolts up here. So what I did was I removed the pin from what holds the rear foot peg on, put a bolt and a nut, and I just made a simple bracket, just an L-shaped bracket with a hole on each end, and it drops about 1 inch. And this thing is mounted solid, looks really good. I'm gonna pull the bike out so you can really see the angles, but I am very, very happy with how this looks. So we can see zero issue with the lower in place. So I'm pretty excited. I'm sure the customer's gonna be happy. We will, I'll get the Black Widow fuel mapping loaded in with the R9, rest of my mapping, get up on the dyno and do a little road testing and dyno testing and get you the numbers like I always do. But I think I just gave everybody a little less expensive option for their R9 that looks pretty good and with minimal amount of fabrication and work to put on. Just wanted to give everybody all the angles so you can see there's no issue with ground clearance and see what it looks like from every angle. I will post the direct link to it in the description of the video. And please remember, this is for a customer, not my own bike. This was the project that we came up with together, and I think it came up really good, and he's really happy, and that's what is important. Wow, I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. The bike runs amazing with it, with my flash and all my mapping specific for this pipe and specific for the R9. Just totally different experience. My new mode 1, power mode 1, is really, really, really responsive and just fun to ride on the street. Took it down a twisty road and really enjoyed power modes 2, 3, and 4 and the smoothness that they bring back. Gear 2 is all fixed. It's just such a nicer bike to ride. So let's get to the dyno runs. Here is what this specific R9 made stock on my dyno before I touched anything. Here is what I was able to achieve on this very same R9 that was all stock. The only difference is the V-Cycle Nut Flash. We can see the gains from top to bottom, and really nice gains up top, nice gains in the middle, nice gains everywhere. Just a better bike. So let's see how this compares to with the Black Widow and my Flash. So when we compare the stock R9 optimized with my flash versus the R9 with this Black Widow full exhaust and optimized with my flash, we can see we have nice gains. There is nowhere that it's below. I gained a nice little bit here down in the bottom, but really where this shines, as we would expect with a new exhaust, is above 6,500 RPMs and all the way across the top of the rev range. We gained another 2.5 horsepower and another 2 pounds or 2 pound-feet of torque at peak. It's just better everywhere. So let's look at where we're at now compared to where we were with the 100% stock bike. And here's what we get when we look at where the R9 was stock to where it is now with the Black Widow full exhaust and my flash. We can see we gained, if we just look at the peak number, a full 8 horsepower and a full 6 foot-pounds of torque. That really doesn't tell the whole story. We'll take a closer look at this, but this on the top, I mean, this is an R9. This is supposed to be ridden hard, and this area on the top, especially up here where when we'd be shifting gears, we'd be coming through, is just night and day better. Let's take a look at a closer look at some of the gains with this. Same comparison, the bike stock to where it is now with the Black Widow and V-Cycle Nut Flash. If we look out near the old red line and with this new setup where we're still pulling really good, there's only a little bit of trail off at the end, right? I raised the rev limiter all the way out to 11 grand. We can see here we gained a full 13.5 horsepower at the top. And again, if you're using this bike and riding it at the track or just riding it hard in a straight line, this is power that you will be able to use and access every time you go through the gears. I mean, we have to go all the way back to right around 8,000 RPMs and not be above the old peak horsepower. So very, very, very nice gains. For this comparison, what I wanted to do is look at the old peak torque number right here, right? Stock bike, 64.8 foot-pounds of torque or pound-feet of torque. So here we already have more torque than the old peak at almost 6,400 RPMs. And let's look how far, how many RPMs, it's going to be out over 9,000 RPMs, that we have more than the peak stock torque, which, as you can imagine, this is the area we ride the most. Very, very, very useful. And we can see we're above that stock peak torque, almost out to 9,400 RPMs, which turns into about a 3,000 RPM swath from middle to middle upper RPM range, where we have more torque than we did at peak stock. So very useful, it was very noticeable when riding the bike. I think so. I'm really happy again how this came out. Thanks guys for watching. I think I hit the target with it. Remember to head on over to vcyclenut.com for your very best in flashing needs, where you can get this flash. So far, for the R9, I have the stock bike. Now I'll have this, which most people won't be able to use. But if this fancies you, I'll have mapping specific for it. I've also done the arrow systems. Pretty soon I'll have the Akrapovic and the Toast mapped out. So going through stuff like I normally do. Hope you guys found this helpful and that some of you were able to save some money and get a nice system on your R9 that looks good and performs great. Thanks, guys.